Well, like we were saying, like we were talking about before, I think people, I don't know what the logic is of not washing your legs. Like, let's say you're rolling around in the dirt, wouldn't you still want to take a shower and then wash the dirt off your legs?
Yeah, of course. I'm different than these people that you were talking about, but I also know people that don't shower. Like, I guess I could see not showering every day, especially now when nobody's like when you're not really going out. But there are people I know who normally, when there's not a global pandemic going on,
Right.
they only shower like once a week or every other
Yes.
day or something like that.
I've also like, I know people who are like, oh, I don't sweat. Like I don't sweat people, which it really confuses me because all I do is sweat. And
Yeah, but
it's
sweat
so,
doesn't mean that you don't smell.
well, yeah, for
I think it
sure.
contributes it contributes to it, sure, but you can still have body odor without being sweaty, I think.
Absolutely. I think I think the main culprit of why these people are like, "What's the problem here?" And it's like, because you stink or you're
And
dirty,
people who
but
don't use deodorant also.
yeah, that's so
But
like,
it's like
yeah,
you're used to your own smell, right? So you wouldn't
yeah,
really know if you smelled if all
100%.
you've ever smelled is bad. It's like when you walk into somebody's house and it's like it smells weird in here, but you don't
Yeah.
say anything because it's how they're used. I don't know.
No, you're 100% right. As you get used to
So
whatever
it's the
smell.
other people that have to smell you. So you can't say that, oh, I don't smell, I don't sweat. You know.
Well, it's also like, I don't know. I think personally for me, I feel like I'm pretty self-aware when it comes to smells, whether it's my own or other people's, and I think I'm mindful, which is what makes me wanna be, like, clean, when
Hmm.
if I'm gonna go hang out with friends or whatever, I'm like, "Oh, maybe I should pop in the shower real quick, get a nice spritz on." Whereas I
Yeah.
think there's some people who are like, "Yeah, whatever, it's just kinda like the body." And I think I will say, like, different cultures, different communities will have different smells that you just kind of, like, account to, like, well, this is just what if everybody smells like this, then it would be kinda weird to be like, "Hey, you smell different," because it's like, well, everybody smells different. You're just noticing it, because 'cause you're from somewhere else or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
like, when I went, like, to Africa, like, taking a shower is not as, like, a regular thing just because like, the availability of, like, the hot water and a shower and all that stuff isn't always there, but it's fine because it's not like, well, everybody's taking a shower every day and you're not, so you will stand out. It's kinda like, no, everybody just kind of, like, takes a shower or a bath when they can, and that's just what it is, and there's definitely more judgment in the Western world, maybe more specifically in the United States, than there is anywhere else. Like in Europe, there are definitely people who don't wear deodorant or whatever, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it's more of a common thing.
Hmm.
I don't know. It seems there's also like a business in being clean too. Like before the pandemic, like, yeah, make sure you wash your hair, make sure you like wash your face with a different face wash and a hand wash and a body wash and foot cream and like all this stuff.
Hmm. I don't know.
So
I just think I just like being clean.
yeah, of
I
course.
feel weird if I don't shower. I I don't know.
So have you been like camping or been on like some kind of situation where you're like, oh, access to a shower or like washing myself is not going to be available for at least a day or two?
Never.
Never.
Honestly, never.
You're like George Costanza. You're like, I can never be too far away from a bathroom. Like I just, no matter
Well,
where I
that's
go.
true. That should be true for everybody. Yeah, I don't
Right.
know how people go on these like long hikes and stuff. It's like
Well,
you
yeah,
gotta go to the bathroom at some point.
that's why you bring a little mini shovel.
Do you bring a mini shovel?
I mean, I don't, but like people in the general sense do when they're doing that. Like I think I'm definitely closer to you when it comes to, like, bathroom stuff. Like, I wanna be near a porcelain, you know, toilet of sorts.
Yeah,
Um, but, like, I've definitely been in situations, whether it's camping or traveling or whatever, where it's just like, this is just not an option, and you kinda have to deal with it. I think as I've gotten older, it's it's something I'm like, I think of more than probably I did when I was younger. Um, 'Cause, yeah, it's just, like, embarrassment and just kind of, like, this collective shame that is kind of put upon you when you don't do this thing or do that thing, and it's kinda like, yeah, it builds up in you.
yeah. I mean, could you imagine? Like, we're adults. Could you imagine, like, shitting your pants in front of your friends? How mortifying that would be. And we're adults. Like, you should be like, oh well,
Right.
it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think there's maybe an age range where doing that might be, like, catastrophic to your, like, what you would say your, like, social identity, you know? Like, I think from,
Hmm.
like, 14 to maybe, like, yeah, 13 to, like, 25, I think in that age range is when you probably would be like, if I shit my pants in front of my friends, they would, roast me and make fun of me, and, like, it would be a thing. Whereas I think once you get to an older place, I think people have more empathy, or at least you hope that they do. And I think if you're hanging out with anybody in your late 20s and beyond, and they're making fun of you because you had an accident, I think they're probably not good people.
Yeah,
They're
those aren't your
probably
friends.
yeah, they're just, like, terrible people who are probably still trapped in this adolescence kind of, like, thing of, like, "Oh, you shit your pants, you're a loser." And I think, yeah, I would feel more comfortable doing that now than I would have 10 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, and not to say that, I wouldn't have had friends who were just like, "I hope this everything is okay. Can I help?" As, like, as much as I could, but, um, yeah, it would be terrifying. I still wouldn't wanna do it as an adult.
No, you try not to. You spend uh,
Spend every waking moment trying not to.
trying not to. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exhausting to actively just be thinking about not shitting your pants all day.
Yeah. I mean, and not to kinda continue in this, ones and twos discussion, but I will say, I think the happy medium for me is, like, taking a piss outside. That's probably, like,
You
the best
you
out of
enjoy
both
doing that?
worlds. Oh, yeah. There's something very kind of, like, and I'm not talking about, like, at the park down the street. I'm talking about, like, out in the wilderness, and you're just like, yeah, all you hear is nature. You got the, like, what is the thing that they play when you, are trying to fall asleep? Ambient noise or whatever. You got that,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of like, enjoying
So
enjoying it
so
as
is
humans don't.
your pee is ambient noise for other people who are camping there?
And they're just like, What is this water hitting the side of this tree sound? I don't know what that
It's
is."
it's
And
peaceful.
and you're just like, "Excuse me, I'll be finished in just a moment." And they're just
And
like,
then you get
"Jeez."
used to it and you can't fall asleep without somebody peeing next to you for the rest of your life, every night.
Well, there's this book I read in elementary school or junior high about, the Civil War, and it's kind of like historical fiction where it's, like, based on some of facts of history, but it's just like a kinda made up story. And there's this kid who, like, grew up in this city or in this town in Kansas, and he joins, the Union Army, and he, like, kind of adapts his life to living kind of like marching and camping in the fields or in the trees or whatever. And so it's like this whole book, and he goes through this whole journey, and at the end of the Civil War he goes back home, and he's like in his room that he's going to stay in his bed, and he can't fall asleep. And then he like climbs out the window, and he like lays on the grass, and he's like falls asleep because it's like his comfort. And
Hmm.
that was like the reality not even that long ago. You could have said maybe like within our parents' or grandparents' lifetimes, like sleeping on the ground was still what people would do, you know? It's,
Uh, yeah.
and and now it's just like well, you can't do that because it's not comfortable and it's, all this stuff. But if you go camping, it's great. And it's just kind of
Mm,
like for how many thousands of years, that's how most people kind of like spent their time. And only in the past, 100 years, you could say, it's been like dwellings and like you need a bed and a mattress and a thing and a that, you know?
mhm,
I'm just saying we should go back, sleeping in the grass.
mm, yeah,
Just
make
for that,
America.
not for the other yeah, not for the other stuff. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks since we last talked. So much has happened. Um,
Yeah. What's in the news?
what's in the news? Well, they're still talking about this pandemic, and it's just kind of like we get it, wear a mask and all that stuff, and it's just kind of like let's move on. There's other things
Hmm.
we need to worry about.
Yeah,
Um,
don't let it take over your life.
don't yeah,
Don't
don't
let
let
the
it take.
thing. Don't let the thing that should be taking over your life take over your life.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and then you have like an election is coming up. So vote. Make sure you vote, and it
Hmm.
doesn't matter who you vote for, just vote. And yeah,
That's the main point: is exercise your constitutional right to vote.
absolutely. Because if you don't vote, then it's kind of like, what's the point? Not to say that like if you voted for the bad dude or the bad lady, that would be kind of a throwing away your vote. It's just the fact that you vote.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't matter
disagree.
who you vote for. We're just vote or die, like Diddy said.
Vote or die. Yeah.
Vote or die.
Wonder if I could buy one of those T-shirts.
I'm
One
sure
of
you know how like
those
they do that with
eBay
surplus.
probably.
Yeah, eBay. You know how they do that with surplus shirts? Like, if a Super
For like
Bowl winner.
sports. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure if you go to like some country where they got a lot of that stuff, they
They
probably would
think
have.
Hillary won.
Yeah, they'd have a Hillary one for sure. Hillary 2016. Hillary, who is her dumb running mate? Um, I almost said Pence because it's some generic white dude like that. Um, Hillary, and it's got a Hillary 2016 T-shirt on it, and then it's got like Atlanta Falcons when they lost to the Patriots or something.
Mhm.
Um, it's got the Red Sox, the Bill Buckner when they lost to the Mets. Um,
Yeah, there are people wearing T-shirts from 1986.
yeah, I mean they made so many of those Red Sox champion jerseys, and and
Oh,
they
because
can't
it was
use
a
them anymore
sure thing. Yeah.
because the shirt. Well, that's what they do. They just, it would be kind of wild. Think, when we're like thinking about the United States, think of it in this context. We are a country of such excess that when two sports teams play, that instead of being like, all right, the winner, the Kansas City Chiefs or whatever, they won tonight. You will have T-shirts and merchandise, in a week or two when we can print all of that. Instead of doing that, they're like, why don't we print both teams with winning merchandise so that when either team wins, we can sell that, and the rest of the stuff, the other half, we'll just like throw away because they're just
Yeah.
like, oh, we'll make so much money. The product that we did print and make will kind of recoup through all the
I
sales of
wonder
like
when that
the winning teams.
started.
I mean, I'm sure
Had to have been
football
like the
had a.
90s.
Yeah, probably in the 90s when Clinton was in office. He was just like, yeah, we have money now, let's do this. Yeah, but it's just kind of.
I want both teams to have
Yeah, instead of being like you
access.
instead of being like you can place your order and then receive it in a week or two, it'll just be like, no, you can just get it.
Yeah,
And
they'll still have one in a week or two.
absolutely. But that is how, and you can just like copy that and paste it to any other like industry um or business model of like what they do, where it's just like, yeah, we'll just make more than what we need, and whatever this excess. I mean, that's what people do. I mean, business, like clothing companies do. They make an X amount of clothes, send it
Hmm.
to department stores and wherever, and then they have always excess. Then they go to outlets, and then after that they go to TJ Maxx, and then they, I don't know, get used to turn into oily rags that you can buy at Home Depot or something.
Yeah.
It's wild, but
Every rag was once a throwback jersey.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, recycling a lot of that stuff, you kind of have to find something to do because it's just kind of like, what are we just filling landfills with all this shit, or
Hmm.
floating out in the ocean?
Right.
It's no good, and that's why you have to vote. If you don't
Stop
vote,
printing T-shirts.
stop printing T-shirts. I was in North Dakota visiting my parents during our little break, and I was driving around, and a lot of people have um, cats for president, like lawn signs, because it's just like it's either it shows like cats 2020 or dogs 2020. It's just like because that's the best option or whatever,
What are the
and
poll numbers? Who's
probably
ahead?
good. I think they could possibly be a spoiler, like a Ross Perot style spoiler to the
I
two
think
candidates.
dogs are probably in the lead.
Well, it's not necessarily who people like the most, it's who votes that likes those kind of things. So, like, do you think cat people are more likely to vote than dog people? I think they are.
Wait, but which are which? Do you, dog people are probably Trump supporters?
No, no, no.
What do
No,
you?
it's no, you're
No,
misunderstanding.
no. I understand. I understand. I'm just pivoting the topic a little
Oh,
bit.
I see. You don't
Pivot.
want to dig deep into more of that.
No,
So
I
yeah,
understand. No,
yeah.
okay. Go ahead. So you're saying dogs and
No, I was
did you
saying
see more?
like they were the third party candidate, dogs and cats. They weren't representing Biden or Trump.
Oh, it wasn't dogs like a separate bumper sticker. So it wasn't like cat for president and dog for president. It wasn't like lawn signs that have. It was cat for president, dog for vice president, like something like that.
No, no. So
I
like
don't
people
understand.
people would have like cats 2020 like as if it was like on a lawn sign as if it was a presidential like
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing instead of putting a Biden or putting a Trump. It's not representing one of those candidates. It's just like I don't
No,
want
I know
to yeah.
that.
It's just like
I was saying, what I was saying though is, do you think a dog person would be a Trump supporter? Like, do
oh
you think
yeah,
his
yeah.
supporters would be?
I
Never
see.
mind.
I
It's
think
too high concept.
it's so high concept. I think yeah, you're probably right. There are probably some dog owners who are probably more of the Trump side and cat who would be a Biden folk. Um yeah, I think that probably tracks pretty well.
Mhm.
But I
Well, I
feel
want to
like
make a cat and dog like they're running together.
yes,
That's a sign I want to make.
joint ticket, which they
Yeah.
probably have as well, like the joint ticket cats and dogs, vote them in kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like a truly wild Air Bud movie, premise. It's just
Airbud for
not
president.
well, yeah, President Bud, Pres Bud.
President Bud.
And
Yeah.
it's just kind of like uh maybe it's like the chief of staff. He goes to like his
Hmm.
office and there's like a general sitting there and he's just like, "Sir, the president has been assassinated." And the next in line is the vice president who's
His
also
dog.
been assassinated. And the next in line is his dog. And it's just
They're
like
coming. They're coming through the Constitution, and they're like, it doesn't say that a dog can't be
yeah,
president.
exactly. It doesn't say a dog can't be president. And they're like, huh. And then Congress
They're
ratifies it. Congress ratifies it. And then it's just like a golden retriever sitting behind the Resolute desk. And he's
Mhm.
just kind of like lazily staring up at different PowerPoints of like Afghanistan and like, with like signs that says like ISIS headquarters. And he's just like, sir, we need the okay to bomb them from you. and he's just kind of like licking his chops and just like fine. I feel like the end of the movie is like him. Hmm. Well, isn't there a Secret Service dog movie? I feel like that's a thing
I don't know.
because there's like First Kid, which is the Sinbad movie where he wants to be the Secret Service bodyguard for the president, but right now his job is to be the Secret Service bodyguard for the president's kid,
Right.
and then hilarity ensues, and then at the end he jumps in front of a bullet that was somebody tries to shoot the kid, and Sinbad jumps in front of the bullet, saves the kid. Oh, spoiler alert for this whole thing. Saves the kid, and then they're like, "Wow, such bravery. We're bumping you up to Eagle One. I don't know if that's the call sign for the president. We're bumping you up to the president." He's like, "Nah, I'm gonna stay with the kid,"
Oh.
and that's the end of the movie. But I feel like you could also make that movie with a dog. Just replace Sinbad with an Air Bud.
Yeah. It's like yeah. I mean, you have dogs who are police officers,
Yeah,
right? Like
it
they are
was
classified as like you can't hurt a police. I don't know why you would want to hurt a
well.
police dog, but
So there was
say
a
it was like yeah.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, say it was like attacking you. Yeah, you punch a dog if it's biting. If it's biting you, you can punch a dog. I don't don't do that.
Don't do that.
But you shouldn't be in a position where I don't. Never mind. But then you would be assaulting an officer, right? They would
Well,
put you, would you maybe get a
100%.
fine for that
Oh,
or arrested for that?
I think cops feel about their dogs, a lot more than they feel for just the general public when it comes to like if you hurt a police dog, they probably give you the max of whatever they could for like that, for sure.
Yeah.
There was a
I don't trust police. I trust police dogs though,
oh, I
right?
definitely
Is
don't
there
trust police dogs.
no?
If you've ever seen the movie White Dog, first of all, I love dogs, I love cats, I love pets, and also that is something somebody says before they disparage the thing they're about to talk about. I love all these things, but
We have a lot of pet listeners, just so
we
you
have a
know.
lot of pet listeners.
Yeah.
But there's there White Dog is a phenomenal movie by Samuel Fuller, and it's about a black woman a white woman who adopts this dog, and it turns out the dog was a white dog, meaning it was a dog trained to attack black people, and
Oh.
and it's like a really, really, really great movie, and kind of delves into like the mentality of why somebody would do that to and train a dog, and then can you untrain the dog from being conditioned that way.
Hmm.
So I feel like that movie accurately is based on a lot of history with pets being owned by bad people. So I feel
I didn't
like
know that you can. I didn't know that you could do that.
oh, you absolutely can.
I don't trust them anymore. I
Yeah,
thought my argument was going to be
cancel 'em.
that a dog is just after like what do? They sniff bombs and stuff. They're heroes, but I didn't
But
know that they could be trained to
yeah. Oh,
uh,
the canine.
discriminate just like every other cop.
Yeah, the canine unit. They'll sometimes use it when like a suspect or a perpetrator gets away from them. They'll like literally unleash the dogs or like whatever, and the dogs will chase them and tackle the person. Um,
Oh,
and but what's wild is on Twitter, somebody had made this thread about so like if there's some database that kind of like shows all of these like police officers that have maybe killed in line of duty, and they show all this stuff, and but they also have in that like site they have incidents where dogs have been killed, and it's just like you go through, and he has a thread, he screenshots it, and he's just like, this is kind of wild. I found this one dog that was killed, in the line of duty, so to speak, and the cause was like the police officer shot it. And then he's just like, it's wild because if you go down the list of dogs, like so many of the dogs that are police dogs were killed by police officers. Like,
How
uh,
come? Because they attacked the officers?
no, because they like, let's say they were attacking a perpetrator and the officer was shooting at the perpetrator and killed the dog, or like,
Oh,
uh,
I see.
just like, negligence, like any other thing where they're like, oh, well, this person is bad, so I'm going to protect myself. But instead of
Well,
it
if
being a
a
human,
dog is biting the shit out of a human, you don't need to shoot that human. I mean, this is a whole another
exactly,
topic, but it's like
100%.
first, like, ah, God, you're just supposed to arrest the person.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if the fact that a majority of the dogs that are dying in your police force are dying because your cops are shooting them, maybe, that should be looked that should be something you should deal with. In
Mhm.
addition to all of the other times where cops also shoot human beings
Right.
for, basically nothing. But yeah, uh, you know how they say all cops are bad? All police cops are bad. Police dogs, all
I'll
dog cops. I don't know how to say.
I'll duck.
All dog cops are bad. There we go. Let's get that hashtag going. All dog cops are bad. But
Well, you've changed my mind. I'm sorry. I here because I was brought up thinking that they just sniff out bombs and we're meant to celebrate our. I salute every
you
like
salute every
literally when
dog.
I do like a literal salute, and then but not anymore. I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Mark sees like a canine, and he's like, "Ooh, ooh, coochie coochie! Oh, what a cute dog!" And he doesn't realize that they're like trained to kill people if they need to.
I don't.
But
Yeah, when I go to the airport and I see the dogs, I'm like, oh, doggy, and then
oh, doggy,
yeah,
doggy,
oh,
doggy.
doggy.
It's kind of like the horses too, like the mounted police. I mean, there are probably less instances of people being harmed by horses.
Well,
Probably
those are just like vehicles for them, right? They're
yeah.
not like police. Well, like, are they police horses?
I mean, technically, they're police horses. I
Do they
mean,
have badges?
do they have badges?
Do those?
At the stable, they're like, it was just like, hey, can we check on our horses? Like, can't. Sorry, there's a graduating class for the NYPD horses at the stable, and it's just like them and their dress whites or whatever, and they're just like going up and it's just like American Pharaoh. Yeah, I mean, like, there's a whole. I guess dogs and horses are the only real animals, right? That the
That are
cops use.
utilized by the police that
Yeah,
we know of.
that we know of. Hashtag all dog cops are bad. Um, but yeah, it also feels like, again, you're perverting the kind of, you could say what the purpose of a dog or a pet could be, which is, yes, there's some protection element to it, but it's companionship, it's like friendliness. I think how most people view dogs specifically. So that kind of attitude, when you have it with a police officer, it kind of really changes. Especially, I mean, canines or golden German shepherds. That's such a like specific breed that has such a negative connotation with certain, parts of the culture because it's
Mhm.
related to police officers. Um, but yeah, I would recommend to you and to any of our listeners who have never seen White Dog to watch it because it is really great. I would love to uh, remake it one day because I think it's a movie that is definitely worth a watch. It probably doesn't deserve a remake, but I want to be selfish and remake it.
Anything you're changing about it, or it's
Nope,
still the
not a thing.
dog?
It's still set in the 70s, and it's still. No, I think. Well, I
You're
think
using all
that's.
the technology.
Yeah, well, instead of a woman who buys the dog, it's a man. So we're just reverse
Oh,
Ghostbustering this, um,
yeah.
just to make it updated. But it,
What
it, it
about
is,
the dog? What if the dog buys a woman?
yeah.
That's a
What,
twist.
yeah. What if the check this? This is like some dumb.
Well, the dog finds, so it's a lost dog.
Right.
Here's here's the twist. It's a lost
Yes.
dog, and the dog finds the woman. She takes it in, and then he finds out the woman's a racist.
Wow.
And so
And
it's
then
like, what does he do? Because she's the one who feeds him and
right.
like houses him and took him in, bathes him, and she loves him.
Yep.
But he sees that she's a racist, and he has to run away.
He has to run away, or
And it's animated.
And it's animated, or in Tarantino fashion, he, becomes cognizant of all that, and then at the end of the movie, mauls the racist lady and all of her racist followers as like a savior.
Yeah, she's having a party,
She's having a party,
and the
and
dog single-handedly takes care of everybody at the party.
all the racists are like, "What a good dog! You're such a good
Yeah.
dog. You hate black people, don't you?" And the dog's just like, because it's animated, it's a monologue in it, and the dog's head is just like,
brother.
Yeah, voiced by Eddie Murphy. He's just like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, he sounds like Donkey from Shrek, but it's not.
No, that's a good 2020 movie right there. How like Blumhouse is doing all these twists on like horror movies. Like I just saw the trailer for one where it's like she was killed by a serial killer and they switched bodies. So she's like a 16-year-old or a teenager, and Vince Vaughn is the serial killer. And then they switch bodies, so Vince Vaughn is now the 16-year-old girl, and the 16-year-old girl is now, the serial killer, and she's killing her friends thinking she's normal. And Vince Vaughn is like, I'm a girl. And they're just like, whatever, Vince Vaughn. You're an adult.
Wait, they just switch. They don't switch
minds.
Bodies.
They switch minds.
Oh.
Yeah. So like
that's
she's in his
body. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's like a Parent Trap. No. 13 going on 30.
Friday? Freaky Friday, they switch bodies though.
Okay, Freaky Friday. It's a Freaky Friday where they switch bodies. It's a Jumanji 2. And they do that.
Too complicated for me.
But yeah. Well, the other thing, because we talked about this before, and I think, apropos of cool trailers, I saw an amazing trailer. You have not seen this trailer.
I haven't watched it yet. No.
But you've seen like the IMDb, and you know roughly who is in it and what's.
I've only seen the poster, which credits about 15 of the people who are in the movie.
All right, so we're gonna live watch this trailer, and so people can watch it along with us if they so choose. The name of the movie is called The War with Grandpa, and could we say the only podcast dedicated to Robert De Niro as Grandpa movies?
Yeah, we reviewed the Dirty Grandpa movie. So this isn't the same Grandpa though, or is it?
I'm gonna say no,
but you don't know.
No, I'm saying. Well, I've only seen the trailer, so I can't say story wise if it's related. Maybe it's
But it's not like the same Grandpa
no.
from.
No.
Oh.
But I think it's like, well, it's definitely a tamer. This is like more of a family movie. But
okay.
All right. So can you see the screen?
Yeah.
So we're gonna watch the movie trailer, and The War with Grandpa. So watch along with us if you so choose. Robert De Niro as the titular grandpa. Obviously, that's all the movies you do now.
Can I help you, sir? You can help me find Maria. Oh, Maria's
in a
gone.
grocery
We're
store.
Completely self-checkout now.
Please scan your item.
Oh,
Please
boy.
Scan your item.
I just did.
Please scan your item.
Yeah, right. Sir?
Wow. Okay. So the first 15 seconds.
He's never been to a store in 20 years.
He's a grandpa, so obviously going to the grocery store is not something he does, and he has groceries, and they tell him that it's self-checkout. The libs are telling him he has to check out his own groceries, and he's just like, nah.
What's his name? Faison.
Faison Love. Yeah, Faison
Yes.
Love is a grocery store in a bit part. We don't know, but maybe we'll see more of him.
This can't keep happening.
And so
We're
Robert
not
De
putting you in a
Niro is
home.
What if it were our
being a
home?
cranky grandma, and this is key to this trailer. Uma Thurman, who's I think not been in movies for a very long time,
So this is going to be a big movie.
it's a huge movie, and she's married to Rob Riggle, obviously, and there's a problem because Robert De Niro he's a
He
cranky
just backed
grandma.
out of a driveway and he
He-
hit a mailbox. So this guy, they're going to put him in a home or something. That's my guess.
My guess is that he lives with them. He's gonna live with them.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Grandpa.
Hello, sweetheart.
How's your daughter's place at?
She gave me my grandson's room. He's not too happy about it.
How do you like your room?
Kid, look, I didn't want it to be this way either.
I just want my room back.
Wow.
Come on. I want to put up with.
I did not know it was based on a book. So I watched this trailer
An
a while ago.
award-winning book.
An
That's what
award-winning
it said.
book.
By the way, you know a movie is going to be funny when they do the red text on the white background.
Exactly.
That's
So
a very cliche.
he's got his grandson, who's ornery because he has to live with his grandpa, his old grandpa.
This, Pete. I demand my room back, or else it's war.
Declaration of war. Give me back what is mine, or face the consequences.
Wow.
Okay. You got your wish.
What the?
That's drying foam sealant.
Wow.
Get this.
He home aloned him, but in a cool way. Instead of using
original
alcohol, he did it with sealant, so he can't shave his face.
So let me get this straight. You want me to help you and your buddies?
Oh, grocery
beat
store.
up your grandson and his buddies.
Wait, hold on. Jane Seymour? I forgot that she's in this trailer.
The Open Hearts Collection lady.
Wow. Yeah. Well, first of all, this is a classic, and I'm pretty sure the dude on the very right in the red pants is Cheech from Cheech and Chong.
Cheech Man. And we have Christopher Walken in the middle.
Yeah.
There.
Absolutely. And then Robert De Niro. And obviously, with any movie that surrounds older gentlemen, there's clearly a scene that will happen where young women are around and they all get horny and they all look at them and they all do those things where, you know, the coyote with the eyes bulging out of his face thing. That's like standard. Has to be in every movie with older men in it.
Yeah.
Up your grandson and his buddies because the two of you can't figure out some way to live in the same house.
Well, when you put it like that.
I'm in.
This kind of aggression shall not stand, Papa.
I didn't
Wow.
know you were a Marine.
It wasn't. Just saying.
Let's do this.
Do you guys even remember how to play dodgeball?
So you don't need your diaper changed?
Wow. Good
Sure
joke.
you don't?
Why are we doing it this way?
When you have peace talks, you need someone neutral to mediate.
He gave me a cookie.
It is true, a cookie was given.
Wow.
I think your grandpa might be a ninja.
We gotta end this somehow.
Santa's dead!
Did you see that?
The war with Grandpa. Oh, snake in the bed, which obviously motif from the Godfather movies.
Mm-hmm.
So much to love
I'm
about this trailer.
not going to be seeing this movie.
Oh no, I already bought 2 tickets for us to go into a indoor movie theater to watch it together, sitting next to each other.
Mm.
So
So what are your impressions of
well,
this?
my main impression of this movie is like, again, continuing the normalization of elder abuse, which is such a ripe place for comedy these days, which is kids beating up on older people who,
Well, why is the kid so upset that he has to spend time with his grandpa?
I don't know.
Like in Dirty Grandpa,
right.
it sort of makes sense because he wasn't close with his grandpa, right? Because the father and him were sort of estranged. And then he found out his grandpa was dirty. So it was a shock.
Yeah.
It was more like grandpa's crazy, so I want to get away. He's trying to ruin my wedding or whatever.
Yeah, it just seems like a more classic old versus young type conflict,
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's maybe the trailer is clearly not doing a good job of giving us a strong premise of what the reason is, but
yeah, I think it's pretty accurate for what the movie is going to be.
yeah, it's it's like a Home Alone type movie. I will say that lane, not necessarily like elderly people, but that lane of like little kids beating up on like adults it is funny. I do love that. It is hilarious because it's like they're young, you should be able to beat them up, but they're beating you up. But I think once you hit like 70, it's probably not funny anymore.
Yeah, this person's too old for you to be.
I mean, seeing Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, and Cheech Marin at one of those like bouncy play things or whatever, those like I don't know what the trampoline
thing.
courts, whatever. Yeah, I'm just like, are they gonna do the Irishman where they have the stunt double, doing backflips for Robert De Niro, which is always the best.
Yeah, probably.
Where it's just like here's Robert De Niro.
He's gonna fall down, and then he's gonna get up with one of those Bruce Lee like kick up things.
Yeah, exactly, and where you don't see his head at all, or if you see his head, it's just like clearly a younger man with a gray wig.
Yeah, there's just ADR of him going. So you hear like the sound effects.
Oh my god, it is one of my favorites because even with movies where the actors are probably younger and probably physically more capable of doing some of those things, they still for insurance reasons will have a stunt person do it. It is my favorite thing to like see the like dumbest or simplest things that they have a stunt person do, where it's just like, all right, we have somebody who is going to jump cannonball into a pool, so we got to get a stunt person for it. And all you see is just like the main character, jumping into the pool with their arms basically covering their face because it's like we can't show this person's face. And when it's someone of the age of like De Niro or Walken or Marin, where it's like clearly they could not do this, so it's clearly a younger person in this position who is doing this it just looks so stupid.
Yeah. Wait, I have a question. So in like superhero movies, like say, they're like who's the most recent? Like Tom Hardy is playing. Is that his name?
Tom Hardy?
No, I'm thinking of someone else. The kid who plays Spider-Man.
Tom Holland?
Yeah, that guy. So it's like he's playing Spider-Man, but he's just playing like Peter Parker, right? He's not doing, because he's wearing a mask, he's not doing any of those stunts, right?
I think they'll like I also think a lot of that stuff is probably like CGI or like motion capture stuff. So I think he might actually be in the suit for some of that stuff, but he might be like on a green or a blue screen kind of like acting it out. Or he might be on like Wireworks. Right. He might be on Wireworks doing some of that stuff. But I think the more like not necessarily, I mean, that's also possible that it's just like a body double and he's ADRing audio.
Right. But Batman, do you think like Ben Affleck did any running at all? When he was in the Batman costume?
For running, not
or,
that
or
it's
like just like anything.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's the person doing it or not.
I think for the most part it is, or at least the acting stuff, maybe the action stuff where it's like combat or whatever. I feel like some actors might do it. Some actors probably won't. But there's always behind the scenes of like, oh, we did 2 weeks of combat training for, I don't know, Kill Bill or something like that. So I think there's some actors who clearly are doing it. And then there's some where it's just like, yeah, when we see Ben Affleck run, it doesn't look great. So we're going to have someone else run for him,
Right.
Like that's probably the case. Like Tom Cruise, he does it all. I don't know if you knew that.
I did know that.
Yeah. I mean, he was attached to the side of a plane when it took off.
That's true.
So
With
you
no
know,
net.
no net, and
No net.
to be like a producer or the person involved with insurance for that movie who are just like, Tom, we love you, we think you're amazing, but like it's too big of a risk and a liability to attach you to a 747 on the outside of it, because if something happens and you die, our movie is done. And he's just like,
Yeah.
don't worry about it, I got it. I ride a motorcycle, I know what I'm doing, I can fly a plane.
Yeah. Scary.
It's dumb.
It's dumb.
It's dumb.
It's
All right.
dumb.
Should we get started?
Let's get started.